Hi, I'm going to share with you how to make a chair book pocket. I have one finished here to show you. So of course you have the pocket for your books, and on the back side you have the pocket that slides down the back of the chair. So I make these out of the drop cloths, and you can get these from like Lowe's or Home Depot. I just found that it's really affordable that way, and the fabric is 100% cotton and it's really durable. But if you choose to use other fabric, that's totally up to you. So the first step is just preparing your fabric. So I buy the biggest drop cloth and I cut it into manageable size pieces. I throw it in the washer and dryer, you guys. I wash and dry it at least twice, and that's gonna soften up the fabric. It can also lighten it, so there's a chance where you could bleach it or you could dye it if you want. But definitely it softens the fabric and it pre-shrinks it. So once you've done that, you are ready to go. Okay, so your first step is to lay out your pattern on the fabric, and I've found that this steel rule is really helpful for that. It helps you with that 90-degree angle, just getting the straight lines, but you can use whatever you've got at home. So you are essentially going to be cutting out rectangles that are 13.5 inches wide by 38 inches in length. So you're going to get rectangles that look something like this. Next, you're going to finish both the top and bottom edges. So you're going to do those in opposing directions. So I'm going to take the top of my rectangle and I'm going to fold away from me 1/2 inch, and I have it pinned here. Okay, so I'm folding away from me. So when I set it down, that's the finished edge. And then I'm going to again fold down another inch. I'm going to measure that here. And then I'm going to pin that. All right, so I'm going to continue to do that, pin it, and I'll be able to sew that in a minute. So top is away from me. The bottom edge, I'm going to fold towards me. And so here I have it pinned 1/2 inch. And then again, I'm going to flip it over and measure out 1 inch and then pin it. And then I'm going to sew both of these. So this is what it looks like when it's done. My top edge is finished on the top, and you see on the back, you can see where the stitching is, right? And the bottom is folded in towards me, so this is the unfinished side of the bottom. So this is the next step. This is important. You're going to flip it over so the top, you can see the unfinished side. So flip the rectangle completely over, and you're going to fold up the bottom edge 9 3/4 inch from the bottom. So I've got my steel rule here, and I'm just going to play around with that fold until I have 9 3/4. So it'll look something like that. Here's a little closer for you, but you can see I've folded this up 9 3/4 inch, and I have it pinned in place. And now you're going to, with your steel rule, you're going to measure 3 inches up from the bottom and 3/4 inch over from each edge, and you're just going to draw a line. So I have this one drawn, and then I also have it on the other side. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to sew up this 3/4 inch seam up to this 3 inch mark. Okay, so I'm just going to sew here and here. Okay, I've sewn the seam, and now I'm carefully going to cut up to that seam line on each side. And I've cut that already. And then next you're going to flip this portion inside out. So I'm going to flip it out. I'm going to press through the corners. Okay, so you have something like this. So you're going to pull that out. can stick a pen in that corner. So it's nice and square, and you're gonna get something like this. Okay, so once you've flipped the bottom portion out and you've pulled out both sides, laid them flat, you're gonna take the top edge and fold it down so it's even with that seam allowance. You can then pin both edges, and you're gonna sew a 3/4 inch seam from this bottom part all the way up. So I'm gonna pin this, take this to my sewing machine, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're on our final step. So I've sewn the seams on each side, and now I'm ready to just flip it inside out. So I'm gonna flip it inside out, press into those corners to get them nice and square, flatten it all out, and there is your chair book pocket. So this top part is for your books, and the bottom part slides on the back of that chair. And odds are these are going to get a lot of abuse and probably a lot of books in these pockets, so it's not a bad idea to reinforce the top pocket by maybe just doing another top stitch of stitching to hold down that pocket. I've done that on this one, if you can see that. But that's it, you guys, super easy. I hope that helped, and good luck on your project.